Welcome all of you to today's What's New webinar. Let me start by mentioning the obvious. It is June and we are indeed quite late with this webinar this time around. After our release 2312, we had a lot of events to attend this year, and we were delighted to meet some of you at Realize Live Americas in Las Vegas and Realize Live EU in Munich. However, this did make it a bit difficult to find a date for our webinar, but better late than never. Let's together have a look at the new features in RapidAuthor for Teamcenter 2312. Today, we want to structure this webinar a little differently and follow the journey an author takes while creating technical documents. Your workflow typically starts with preparing the data and the tools, handling import, etc. Then we move to authoring itself, split into 3D and 2D related features. And afterwards, we go to the publishing and the viewing stage of your created content. And finally, we will talk about automation with RapidCompiler. So let's get started with the preparation step. As our first new feature to improve the preparation process, we are excited to introduce a way of quickly exporting and importing administrative objects. Starting from this release, objects such as item types, delivery maps, and S1000D business objects can be exported and imported in bulk. These operations can be performed from the RapidAuthor administrator, as you can see here. In order to cover special cases in this area, several import options are provided, such as the skipping of existing objects or dry importing, as you can see here. This new functionality is particularly useful when migrating a test environment to production or deploying additional environments. Repeatedly creating administrative objects can be quite time-consuming, and it is prone to errors. And this new functionality will make this much quicker and safer, increasing the reliability and the integrity of the deployment process. Another enhancement of the topic of data import is product manufacturing information filtering upon import. Up until now, PMIs, as we call them, could only be imported in full or not at all. However, we often see cases when customers only need specific types of PMIs, for example, with callouts. And if you were in this situation, you previously had to import all PMIs, which can increase import time substantially. And then during authoring, you had to spend time to remove unnecessary PMIs. Now you can exclude types of PMIs you're not interested in from import and save significant time during preparation and authoring. To enable this selective import of PMIs, you launch the tool Rapid Configuration, open your import profile, and just load a sample source file. On the structure page, you open the settings dialog, visible in that screenshot I pasted here, beneath the Read PMI checkbox. And here you will find all types of PMIs present in the loaded source file, and just select the types you need. That's it. The next preparation feature we want to highlight is one many users have been waiting for, and we call it Incremental Import. To make use of this new functionality, you just enable it in your import profile. Now, we often see cases when customers need to work with a large assembly, but the entire geometry is not needed right away. Instead, only specific parts of it are required for authoring. Yet the other author doesn't want to or cannot import only a subassembly, as they need to preserve the original item tree. In many cases, it's not really the best idea to import huge assemblies all at once for performance reasons. You are limited by the available RAM and overall speed of your system, and that cannot be completely avoided. Incremental import solves this problem in many situations. What it allows you to do is to just import the item tree with metadata, but no 3D geometry is imported initially. This import is very quick, as you just saw in our example. And once you have the full item tree in RapidAuthor, the author can then import 3D geometry of the specific items or assemblies they actually need for the current authoring task. The initial import is then done as usual. When an item does not yet have a 3D model loaded, you can see its icon marked in the item tree. To now import a specific geometry, you just select the item and execute the command import geometry for selection. This is running now. This will now import relevant items into the project without loading the whole geometry of the full assembly. Incremental import also recognizes items imported into the project from different source files with different import profiles and will handle this case correctly. As final notes, there are a couple of limitations. This feature only works with a limited number of formats, more specifically JT when imported via RapidJT component, depending on the version you use, with CATIA, Pro Engineer, NX, and SolidWorks. And it is not connected to the Teamcenter integration for now. You can still use it with RapidAuthor for Teamcenter in standalone mode, but not yet for the CAD data stored directly in Teamcenter. This is a limitation. Still, we have decided that based on the demand for this feature in pre-sales environments, where there might not be a fully set up Teamcenter instance yet, we do not want to keep this from you and will have released it with 23.12. Next, let's have a look at a couple of additional new features for the preparation step of the authoring workflow. For instance, Cortona2D Editor Pro now offers a batch conversion tool to convert multiple graphics from one format to the other. Batch conversion is available for all supported formats. And this is what it looks like. In Cortona2D Editor Pro, you just click on Batch Convert, select the input and the output format, as well as the source files and the target location. And then you hit Run. With 23.12, we also support additional new CAD data file formats with Rapid Data Converter for Teamcenter. For a full list of supported formats, as always, please see our full release notes and the documentation, but you can see the new additions here. We also have quite a few small changes to improve and speed up the workflow with the RapidAuthor Teamcenter integration. For instance, we have simplified the management of S1000D objects and reduced the potential for unintended errors with the configuration. And we have simplified the way you work with Cortona2D item types in Teamcenter. If you regularly work with the RapidAuthor Teamcenter integration, you know that the amount of available item types can be a bit overwhelming. Not anymore. The drop-down selection of item types has been limited significantly to only show you the relevant ones. You can configure this with a new property called Group. You can define when you create the item type object. And we have also added the much-awaited drop-down selection list for item types when creating Cortona3D items in Active Workspace. Likewise, groups apply here too. But there's more, of course. We have improved the support for section shields and import them correctly if they are present in JT model view objects. When creating IPC pages from JT model views on import, only model views marked as published will now be imported. Then we also support product manufacturing information of table type now. And we have quite a few additional enhancements for data import from Teamcenter Service Planner and Manufacturing Process Planner, as well as for the import of textures for JT files. For a full list of information on release on new features in this release, please see the release notes. And now let's have a look at new 3D authoring features. The first feature we'd like to highlight here will significantly improve working with complex assemblies. 23.12 adds two new selection modes in all RapidAuthor authoring tools called X-ray mode and translucent shell mode. While these two modes behave somewhat differently, they both serve the purpose of clearly distinguishing the selected 3D items from the rest of the geometry, especially when these 3D items are hidden inside other assemblies. This will help during authoring and familiarization with the imported 3D data. To use the feature, you just activate the required mode and select a 3D item, as you can see here. The rest of the model then becomes translucent, and you can clearly see the selected items. You may recognize these modes from our interactive publications where this type of visualization has been available already for a bit. Now you can also make use of it during authoring, and we hope to provide a much improved experience for authors working with complex data sets. In the same category is a new command available in this release called Select Invisible. This will provide significant aid in optimizing your project's performance. The command automatically selects all 3D items that are invisible, or in other words, are hidden inside other items. And to use the functionality, you just click the button, Select Invisible, and all items currently invisible will be selected for you. Then you can choose to remove them or maybe reduce the representation only for these items. And doing this can drastically increase performance. And the new option saves you a lot of manual effort in trying to select internal components not relevant to your current authoring needs. This command works for the current state of the scene. In certain cases, you may need to find hidden 3D items only in specific assemblies. In those cases, you just select the assembly in question and execute the Select Invisible command, and the relevant internal items will be selected for you. Another new functionality we'd like to highlight significantly improves the functionality of the object gallery item flat cable. Flat cables can be used to mimic various electronic cables, and they now come with an auto-detect feature. After inserting the flat cable object from the object gallery, it's added to your scene, and in the auto-detect tab, you can then select the 3D item you wish to recreate, and we generate a flexible flat cable for you. As you may know, auto-detect was first introduced several releases back for the whole spline object, in order to auto-generate complex flexible cables from static 3D geometry. Auto-detect for flat cables works very much the same way. After the flat cable has been created for you, you can then attach both ends to other items and animate them together. This is especially useful in rapid manual and rapid learning projects. When authoring Editor or S1000D content, the practice of incorporating links or repurposing elements from other RapidAuthor, Editor, or S1000D projects is a very commonplace strategy. This technique proves highly beneficial in saving authoring time and preventing redundancy. Previously, our support for reuse and references was limited to content within native RapidAuthor items or projects. In response to customer needs, particularly those with existing content in Teamcenter Content Management, the latest release now enables referencing and reuse of resources from content management as well. This expansion goes beyond just RapidAuthor items and includes the ability to reference or reuse raw S1000D or Editor items stored directly in Teamcenter Content Management. And this not only includes paragraphs of text or tables, but also extends to illustrations and various other elements. Let me just quickly show you how that works. It's quite straightforward. First, we configure the property for content reuse. Here you can see it's active, set to 1. Then we select the desired topic in Teamcenter Content Management. This is how that topic looks. And finally, we create a link in RapidAuthor to the desired topic. In this case, we use Rapid Text. And here we can select the topic directly. And that's it. Next, on another topic, we have gathered input from technical authors about aligning and repositioning of 3D items. Depending on your geometry, this can be quite tricky. And to help with this action, we have implemented automatic detection of edges, so you can skip the process of manually repositioning manipulators. Now you can align objects or the manipulator axis to the edges of the 3D model, so the lines between the different surfaces. And you can also align objects to curved edges. In this case, you can just snap to a particular segment of the curved edge. If you need more detailed information on how this works and how to make use of it, this is of course available in our documentation. The last authoring feature I'd like to mention is an improvement to the S1000D authoring workflow, specifically to the way you use applicability. If you don't work with S1000D yourself, applicability decides if something is applicable to a certain variant. To just describe that on a very high level, say one configuration of a car has a heated windshield, another one doesn't. Based on the applicability setting of the windshield heating, related instructions will be included or excluded in the documentation. And with this release, we include support of applicability from the data module Conditions Cross-Reference Table, CCT. And this module is used to declare conditions that will be used to set applicability in data modules. After 3D authoring, let's also have a look into improvements and new features that will support you in the creation of 2D illustrations. The first feature we'd like to highlight in this part of the workflow is a completely new approach we take to the generation of vector illustrations from 3D geometry. For a long time, RapidAuthor had provided authors with numerous options on how vector illustrations are created. However, one particular area wasn't very well covered so far, and that's the styles of lines. Although width of various types of lines could be defined along with a few other properties, options were still rather limited, and users sometimes had to change styles of lines manually inside Cortona2D Editor Pro after image creation, and we have now improved this. The way this works now is that users can set specific styles for each of the 5 types of lines that are used to represent 3D geometry, as well as callouts and magnifiers before a 2D image is generated. Line styles in RapidAuthor and Cortona2D Editor Pro generally refer to a specific combination of properties, such as line width, color, outline properties, types of edges and tips, dash style, and many more. If you are familiar with Cortona2D Editor Pro, these styles are shown in the Property Inspector window for the selected object, as you can see here. The user can define custom styles for different types of objects according to authoring or company standard. When you first install the RapidAuthor suite, in the 2D Image Options dialog, you will only find default styles. As you define and save custom styles in Cortona2D Editor Pro, these styles will also appear for selection in the 2D Images Options dialog of RapidAuthor. So to summarize, you can now choose default or custom styles of lines, callouts, and magnifiers before you generate a 2D image, so you will not need to apply these styles in Cortona2D Editor Pro manually. And this should save a lot of time. I can see a comment that one listener, visitor, doesn't have any sound. Team, can you confirm that you can hear my audio?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay. Sorry to hear, Rick, that might, well, he won't hear me. Maybe you can reply that the audio is audible for hopefully the rest of the webinar. Might be on your end, Nick. Anyway, let's move on. Of course, there are many more improvements ready for you. I cannot mention all of them, but let me pick a couple. In the previous release, we had introduced a very popular feature called Composite illustrations, which allows the combination of multiple illustrations into one master, or so-called composite illustration. Starting from this release, not just vector illustrations can be used within composite illustrations, but also raster ones. This is a small but quite important addition, and we will continue to improve the workflow for composite illustrations based on your feedback. And we have also made improvements to raster editing in Cortona2D Editor Pro. In 23.12, the raster editor now has a new fill tool, as you can see here in bright blue, let's say. And it also now supports anti-aliasing for the eraser tool. Another small improvement to the user experience was implemented for object snapping. While dragging an object, its points can be snapped to other objects now. So if you need to attach one object to another or to a complex figure in your illustration, the new functionality will greatly improve speed of authoring and ease of use. If you need to draw objects in isometric perspective, you will likely know about the option to project objects from the orthogonal to the isometric grid. This saves a lot of manual effort in the creation of drawings. And with this release, we introduced the opposite command. So you're now able to convert objects from isometric to orthogonal projection. This was a quick sneak peek of new functionality to improve your efficiency in the creation of 2D illustrations. Now let's have a look at the last step of the authoring workflow, the publication. With 23.12, 3 new publish options are now available for your interactive publications. These are the measurement tool, the section tool, and a secondary 3D window for the selected item. Let's have a look at the measurement tool first. This is one of our most requested features, and with it, end users are able to quickly check the approximate distance between 2 3D points or between 2 points on a specific plane. This is how you enable it. We provide a convenient unit switch along with a freezing option that keeps measurement results persistent. To clarify, this measurement tool is not used during authoring with the RapidAuthor suite, but in the resulting interactive publication directly. So you can do quick and easy measurements while viewing published content. An important word of caution and a disclaimer though. Measurements obtained with this tool cannot be completely precise, as RapidAuthor uses tessellated 3D geometry. What that means is that the 3D model you see in published content consists of polygons, and precision of measurements depend on your import settings and on the representation you choose to convert the original CAD data into 3D. Still, it's a very useful tool for rough measurements, and we have had a lot of requests for a function like this. As a general advice, we would propose to not use the results obtained with this measurement tool directly in your workflow. To obtain dimensions necessary for manufacturing, servicing, and other critical operations where they need to be exact, please refer to the relevant technical documentation. The second addition is a user-controlled section tool and is another much desired feature for publications. With this section tool, as you can see, the user can quickly create sections at runtime if required. And we also provide a helpful freezing option. It goes without saying that sections can also be created by the author inside our authoring tools, and these sections are then persistent and also appear in interactive publications. The third addition to the viewer is the option to show selected objects in a separate 3D window. With this functionality, the user is able to examine a specific 3D item on its own and in a separate 3D view. It's very versatile and easy to use, and will be useful for many use cases, like in this case, looking at details of a specific part in a spare parts catalog. And lastly, I'd like to mention illustration types. Interactive HTML publications produced with RapidCatalog or RapidIllustrator typically come with different pages, each with a 3D view and or 2D illustrations. The author may also decide to publish a project just with 3D views or 2D images. Now, previously, the downside was that this decision was controlled by a single option and affected all project pages at once. To give more flexibility to authors, we have now added page-level metadata, and you can see here, called illustration type, which controls this option for a specific page. To give you an example, we could now decide to show one page with only 3D and another with only 2D, like we did here. And if we now publish the project as 3D, we set it to 3D only. And in the publication, we will see that all pages are marked as 3D. And if we do the same thing and set it to 2D only, in the publication, we will only see the 2D pages. No 2D content. Here's a 2D page. Now, after a first look at new authoring features, I'd like to also mention improvements to our newest product in the product suite, RapidCompiler. As you may know, RapidCompiler is a Teamcenter server-side instrument intended for batch processing of large number of data in the background. With this relatively new product, we focus on automation, and you can save a significant amount of time by having RapidCompiler do the heavy lifting for you in the background. After the initial release, we have already received great ideas and multiple requests for new functionality, and we will continuously add new features to RapidCompiler. In 23.12, we have implemented some of the most desired features, and RapidCompiler is now capable of a number of new operations, such as distribution of S1000D and DITA content, publishing S1000D publication module and DITA map, republishing, export of S1000D data module, and the handling of bulk operations. Additionally, authors can now initiate these basic operations for multiple selected revisions of objects in the Teamcenter Rich client. Our goal is to streamline and automate your business process as much as possible, and we will continue to add functionality based on your valuable input. So please, if you have a situation that isn't well covered in your opinion, do let us know. It will have an effect on our prioritization. As I mentioned a couple of times that the full list of new features will be available in the release notes. Just as a reminder, we have posted our release notes on our release note page. You can also check additional information in our knowledge base. And our demo page has also been updated with the new publication features where you can have a go yourself and play around with the new features. That's it for a quick overview of new functionality in our 23.12 release. Now, let's see if you have any questions. I hope the Teams Town Hall interface is easy to use. I will wait for the first questions to pop up. Let me just move the interface. As you can or will see, let's say I do have a couple of improvement ideas for Microsoft regarding the Town Hall interface, but now you can see what we're looking at and see questions and answers without having to expand yourself. You'll see how that works. So the first question was, when aligning the manipulator to an edge, is it possible to select another edge to move the object to? And yes, you can do that. You can choose any edge on the model, as you can see in the response by the team. And the edge is used to align one of the manipulator axes along the selected edge. As you can see, there's a lot of clicking here. The next question is regarding the Teamcenter integration. And the question is, what are the different interactions available with EasyPlan? And the answer, as you can see here, the plan is to support EasyPlan with RapidAuthor 2412. There's an ongoing conversation with the EasyPlan team, and the full integration with EasyPlan in Active Workspace is planned to be available with the winter release. How will the graphic object reused from TC Content Management be updated in the project when it changes in content management? Very good question. Update, the automated update process, as you will know, is very important to us. And objects reused from Teamcenter Content Management will also be updated automatically when you open the project in RapidAuthor. By the way, very good to see that it seems to be possible to add an additional comment in case the question has been misunderstood on our side or something like that. I wasn't sure that works in Teams. I think that was the latest new question. Can I use different IPC pages, some of them for just for 3D HTML and others for 2D PDF? Yes, that is possible. As you can see, a new IPC page metadata illustration type defines the type of illustration for each page. Happy to hear about your feedback regarding the new features and how, this works for all of you. The next question is, will Service Planner also be supported in 2412? I will let, I do have an answer to that, Håkan. I'll let the team discuss and reply. Now there's multiple. The easy answer from my side to the Service Planner question is yes. Let's see if there's any more comments the team wants to add. Let me skip that question because we have an answer for this one already. Can options for the 2D image generation be configured through an import profile? And can import profile define the width and height for the generated images? That is not possible. 2D image options can be defined only via the product UI, not in the import profile directly. And then we have an open question here. What was the RapidAuthor client administrator that we saw in the beginning of the presentation? I never saw that, I suppose. That is a separate tool you can start. Let's see what the full answer from the team will be. I can also skip back to the video we had and explain there. And by the way, I believe it was mentioned at the start, we also record the session and summary documentation, and the recording, I suppose, will be available after the webinar. It's not ideal with the scrolling around in the Q&A panel. I hope you can see all questions on your screen as well. (24/6). I was a bit careful with the exact release for Service Planner support, but yes, this is also in discussion and development and Service Planner. I suppose what's missing here via Active Workspace, by the way, because we already have Service Planner support, will be available in 24/6, and Easy Plan integration will be done for 24/12. Maybe you can comment on the RapidAuthor client administrator. The reason why I moved the answer to the team is that I haven't used the. Yeah, perfect. That might be easiest. We can take a note and send you documentation for the RapidAuthor client administrator afterwards. I was about to say I haven't used it myself, so I only know it based on the features we implement for it. So the exact process, is probably better if you just look at the documentation. Next question is, would it be possible to insert a link from a DPL row in Rapid Catalog to another topic? Let me check. Very good. In generic IPC-based specifications, you can define URLs for any DPL row, and for S1000Z specifications, there's a data module reference entry in the description column. I do hope that helps. Xrefs to other topics. Yeah, feel free to extend the reply to that question. Otherwise, if it goes into too much detail, this is also something we can provide additional documentation on. Then, do you already know in which release the possibility of having a multilingual Rapid Catalog project will be implemented? And that it depends. As Mikhail wrote, it is already supported to some extent, but it is a bit of a complex topic and has many different requirements and solutions. If you, by the way, that goes for everyone, if you have any more detailed technical questions or want to describe the specific situation you are in, feel free to open a ticket or, depending on the state of the conversation with the team, write to support@cortona3d.com directly. And by the way, as you can see, I'm clicked on the Publish tab. We will look and reply to all important questions that you have. If you don't see your question here, it might be because the team is gathering documentation and information, and we can contact you and discuss this afterwards. Will the import profile rapid work instructions still be supported? It is still supported. I cannot remember mentioning it, but I cannot rule that out, Beth. So that's a yes. Any other questions? I don't see other questions popping up. I will give it a minute because there is a bit of a delay in posting the as I say it. There's a response to RapidAuthor Client Administrator. Yes, as mentioned, we can send you documentation about it. And it should be available, a special tool designed to support active workspace. How you can get to that and start it to make the configuration we showed earlier will be visible in the documentation. Happy to send you a link. Anything else you want to know regarding new features? Doesn't look like it. Usually there's a new question popping up as I say that. That did work. Very good. I expect this version works with Teamcenter 2312 and possibly with Teamcenter 14.x. But does it work with Teamcenter 13 if I use corresponding connector profiles? I will let the team reply with an official statement. It's mostly about the official support. We are, for some features, relatively flexible, but we cannot support all versions from the last couple of years, obviously. And there are a lot of changes on Teamcenter side as well, which will affect the availability of newer features of new versions. So I'm a bit careful with just saying yes or no. In general, the easy answer is no, not Teamcenter 13, but we can discuss this directly as well. As you know, and it's relatively obvious with the versioning scheme we have now, we have based this on, we have aligned with Siemens directly, and our version numbers are the same as the Teamcenter versions. So this is the version we built our new feature support for. The names are created with a part link as a result. those are interlinked with parts in PDF output in Rapid Manual. Why is the callout not linked to the BOM in the PDF output of Rapid Catalog? I suppose this is in discussion at the moment. While this is in discussion, the next question is, are the new features available in Teamcenter Active Workspace? As I'm sharing, I don't have the full list of features to make sure that everything is available in Active Workspace. What I can already tell you is that, of course, this is the goal. It depends a bit on the type of feature. As an easy example, by the way, if you remember at the start for incremental import, I mentioned that is not connected to the Teamcenter integration as of now. So obviously, it's also not available via Active Workspace. But for Teamcenter integration related features, this is the goal. Let me quickly expand this. Very good. So the official support or compatibility for RapidAuthor Connector 2312, to the question earlier, is it is compatible with Teamcenter 14.3, and maybe more importantly, because we just talked about Active Workspace, with Active Workspace 6.3 and Teamcenter 2312. It's yeah, that is the official limitation. To go back to the question regarding callouts here, 2D PDF published from RapidAuthor is not interactive and only designed for printing. So our interactive publications are in HTML5. Let me check if by clicking new I missed any other answers. Yes, maybe you can have a a quick look on the new features we have presented today, if we can make a general statement that all of them are available in Active Workspace, just so we can make sure. Yeah, that's true. I believe for us, the compatibility is with Teamcenter 14.x, not necessarily 3. I think the limiting factor for most of the functionality is the Active Workspace version. And if I remember correctly, Active Workspace 6.3 was introduced with Teamcenter 14.3. That's not necessarily the only setup that a customer might have. So the distinction might be relevant. Yeah, there's an official compatibility matrix that you should be able to search for directly on Siemens side. I believe there are no more active questions now. Let's see if it works the same way as it did when I said that last time.
Please check the very first question.
Very first?
Yeah.
On the bottom, you mean?
Yeah.
That was the
No,
sound.
the second one. The second one.
Yeah, I think we covered that easy plan in 2412. Graphics updated automatically. Very good. Now it does show me a new post. Let's see. Yeah, similar, very short answer to what I tried to say earlier. We can also provide a you know, double check and a full list. You will see it in the release notes as well. It should be relatively clear. Obviously, there are a couple of features that are not relevant for the Active Workspace interface, but we are very focused on Active Workspace. And there will also be very soon support for Teamcenter X, where there is no rich client, you know, so everything we develop is focused on Active Workspace now. Very good. Do we have any other questions pending?
No.
Perfect. Very good. Then I'd say we can close the meeting. Thank you all for attending, for your interest. As mentioned, please check our full release notes. If there's any more questions left, feel free to contact us. Have a second look in the recording and talk to many of you very soon. Thank you all. Have a great day.